pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. We have minutes from last time, Kristine?
No,
No minutes?
Not
Okay.
yet.
As far as setting our next month's meeting dates, let's wait till we finish tonight's meeting and get an update from Max where we are, where we should be, what's going on. We'll kind of figure that out. Other than that, Max, is tonight the night you want us to point out any kind of punctuation or not yet?
If people have, well, I guess it depends how nitpicky we're going to be on it, because I don't mind doing what we've always done, where people have the punctuation stuff, they'll give it to me and I'll fix it outside these meetings, or if we want to go by it, like page by page, you missed a comma there, you missed a period there.
Well, how about if you notice a punctuation thing, make a note of it, we'll give the list to Kristine, and she can forward that to you, and then we'll tell you what tonight, the meeting up tonight.
Okay.
All right, other than that, let's go where you want to go.
All right, so we'll start with the part one, as I called it. This is titled West Bath Comprehensive Plan 2023 Draft. So the way the comprehensive plan is going to be is there's going to be part one, and that's going to be this 28-page document we're going over. That's the introduction and then all the strategies we're going to talk about. And then part two is going to go through section by section, all those inventory items that we've talked about in all the previous meetings. That has all the background information so that if people want to research it, it's going to be there in its own details. Are there any questions about how that's going to be formatted before we jump into the sections at all? Or?
So when you're saying strategies, you really mean like the checklist?
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
We had a little discussion before you came here.
Yeah,
I was wondering why this part, the part two, wasn't after page 28. But the folks in the room convinced me that the reader should know that that's there when they start.
Yeah.
So we consent that we like your organization. Thought you'd appreciate at least one plus comment right at the beginning.
I always like those types of decisions, especially before I get into involvement. And once we get into part two, there is going to be a breaker page that says part two inventory or whatever I title it. So there's going to be that breaker page anyways.
Could I ask a terminology question?
Sure.
Where it says strategies, because we had referred to that as implementation.
Oh, yes.
Is there something different there?
Nope, it's just a title. If implementation is better, then we can have it as implementation.
Do you have a preference?
I'm not sure. We just referred to it as implementation so much, and it says implementation section.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Implementation.
Kind of stands out as this is how you need to
This is-
implement it.
This is the plan.
This is the plan. Maybe it's a better word, I don't know. But
So I'll have it titled as implementation.
All right.
Alright, so moving on to page 4. This is where we start with introduction, the history of comprehensive plans, and the vision of West Bath. Are there any comments, questions, or changes people would like to make to this?
No, that sounds pretty good.
do we have a chance to propose things later? I'm only asking this because I just now got this.
Yeah, we can make changes later. Right now, so the plan is going to be to try and go through as much of the first section as we can, or all the stuff that I was able to send out on Friday. And we're always going to have to continue on next week, or I think that's the next meeting.
Yes, next week.
And I'm still going to have to finish like all the municipal sections anyways. So we can still come back to it. We'll go through everything, if people noticed anything, and when we're done, I'll give people a chance to go back to some of the sections if we missed anything.
Because this is going out to the public also,
Not
for
yet.
comments?
Not yet.
Not for a while.
Not yet.
Yeah,
Oh, I thought it said like,
So
It
it's,
was confusing. It's not
okay,
ready to go out.
alright,
no. So we're going through this, and it's not the general public, but I didn't know if we
Departments.
departments, any nonprofit groups we wanted to give it to, whoever's feedback you want.
That's once we've gone through the whole thing ourselves.
Right.
And there's another print made up with our changes. Put into it. Then it'll go to the department heads
okay.
and see if they have any changes, then we'll come back and,
Well, and you could send it to the department heads now when you're doing it, and then we'll just combine it all in. But it's however you want it.
I wanted us to go through it before they get attached on it.
Fair enough.
I agree.
Can I have access to the internet?
Oh, it should be automatic.
So.
I need the password.
I think this is a typo, but
I don't know
I'm just
that
gonna
we have
still
one.
point it out because it has a different meaning. But the last line on page 4 improves civil involvement, I think civic.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Is that grammar or is that legal to poke at some?
I mean, it's different meaning of the word, so I'm fine doing that.
all right, let's move
Any
along.
other changes to page 4? Page 5, and I did see this from David today. When Kate shouldn't be on that list, but apparently I missed Paul. I don't even know how I missed that, I'm sorry.
That's all right, I just thought I was flying under the radar, like I said.
Because you
can get you at the
Because you
table.
didn't sit at the table last time.
Yeah,
You're-
yeah.
Cut you
Exactly,
out.
you're always over there.
Always in the public.
We'll go with that.
Yeah.
I'll make it not change
I
it.
have a suggestion. I think that you should have your name that has chair after it so people know.
Who to blame?
Chair.
Who to blame, right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Good call.
No, I mean, it's, that gives them a person to talk to if they really need to.
Is there,
I don't know how the rest of you feel, but I think that that's usually how things are done.
How do you feel about that, Dave?
I don't care either way.
Okay.
And you have functions too.
all right, comma chair, or parentheses. Okay. Are there any other changes to page 5?
Yes,
Yes.
a suggested change. I'm still troubled by the fact where you refer to school choice. It's a limited school choice, and I think that word needs to be in there.
Limited school choice?
Yes, because again, maybe there's a better way to describe it, but we have to guarantee 75 students that are being tuitioned under our contract with RSU 1 to RSU 1. It's only the number of students above that 75 that when it gets
75%.
time to
Yeah.
middle school,
75%.
75%. Beyond that, middle school and high school can choose to take that tuition money to some other school. But it's only the number that's above that that get,
I think it's, Bob's got a good point, we should
Yeah.
put in limited, it is a limited,
Is it limited or structured?
well, either
I
way,
think
it's,
it's limited.
Limited
Limited.
school choice.
There's no guarantee of a number any
Right.
given year. It can change.
All
And
right.
I don't want somebody coming in from the outside
And thinking,
and thinking,
Right.
I can send my kid somewhere else and town will pay for it. They may be able to, but there's a
all right,
process.
noted.
Valued
What about some-
policy, or maybe at the end of that sentence put, but there are quotas and limitations, instead of just calling it limited school choice.
Or in its specified format.
I think saying limited school choice already gives that emphasis that there's a policy in place and people should probably see
It makes
why it's
sense.
limited.
So
it just brings their awareness of it.
Right.
So let's
Just
go
put
with,
limited.
let's go with that.
Limited school choice. Is there any other changes to page 5?
Well, I wonder, when you're talking about, you say something about, make a reference to, in the, right under the school choice, there's adequate room for growth on state road and commercial areas for small scale projects. But I'm trying to understand, why doesn't the industrial park get listed there in this point?
Because the committee's been back and forth on whether I should be promoting the industrial park.
Yeah, it's not a.
And also, this
It's private.
is also part of the public outreach, and I haven't had too many people talking about the,
Okay,
But the urban development park is not completely privately owned. And so is all of State Road is privately owned. So you're thinking about Wing Farm, but the urban development park is like 2 times bigger than Wing Farm area is bigger.
how about I just say add the room for growth in the growth areas? Because that does have a Wing Farm park.
That's a little redundant, growth in growth areas.
You could put urban development park and commercial area. Well, the urban development park is a commercial area.
The problem is I didn't have that many people in the survey talk about the Wing Farm Park, and this is the
Right.
public outreach section.
okay.
And technically, you could call the urban development park a commercial area,
Yeah,
because it doesn't say zone.
sure.
So it could be inclusive if you.
People just want to focus that you don't expand commercial outside there. So that's,
I think it works.
Okay. Is it civil information, the one after it, or civic?
We already got that.
Well, that was on page
yeah, no, this is a different one, and,
4.
Oh, it comes up again.
and yeah,
It's
it's,
that one.
and yeah,
Oh.
civic information.
Okay.
I didn't see that one.
That's why there's civic.
Any other changes to page 5?
I have one. I think just the term in the last bullet point,
Yes.
regional cooperation agreements allow West Bath to provide feasible amenities. I guess I felt like it should somehow reflect that they're desirable amenities also. I didn't know the choice of the word feasible, but,
Well, just to provide amenities, just take out the word.
Okay, feasible out.
Yeah. All right. Other changes, page 5. Going once, twice. Page 6. This is just a brief introductory statement to the section.
Paragraph 2, line 3, the assigned, responsibilities assigned is misspelled.
Yep. One too many S's.
was it just one else?
No, I think I've got 3 in there or something.
It's got 3 S's in there.
The one way over to the right, is
Yeah.
like 2 is
Oh,
not in it.
got it.
Oh,
All right.
it's-
So it's like
the
this.
first one's okay.
First one looked okay. Got it.
What's that?
Nothing, it's just stupid.
That's where your name was up.
Exactly. I was wondering if that joke was in there.
Punishment.
Any other changes to page 6?
We're not doing punctuation now, right? We'll give that to you.
Yeah, keep track of it and then,
Okay, fine, I just wanted to make sure.
change to page 6, going once, going twice. Page 7, population/housing.
Max, are you explaining somewhere what the star means?
Those
Are
are
we
the,
leaving the star
those
in
are the
there?
those are the checklist items, just
No, I know.
final draft is gonna be done.
They won't be
Okay.
there.
All right, perfect.
I just am having it in here, just in case there's one last thing, of, do we have to have that one item there? And I'm like,
Yes.
yes.
Just
I like them there.
I think they should stay.
I do too.
Yeah,
But if
Because when we
they do, you need to say
Then,
exactly
then
that
that
and
would, then that
some.
would be explained in the implementation section. I'll have a quick little paragraph that says items with an asterisk indicate that they are items required by
I
the
think
state.
it'd be helpful.
I think when we get to the public hearing,
Yeah.
or even the sending it out to the people
It's like that.
yeah.
we commiserated with when we were working on this, like the fire chief, if it's there, they will understand that something has to be done on that statement. I think it's important to keep it.
I concur. Because we're not gonna remember later if it was a starred item or not.
It might reduce argumentation as well.
Right.
Exactly.
All right. I'm fine with it in there. So, other changes to, so the asterisk item will just be added on page 6, just a brief little explanation. Page 7, any other changes? Hearing none?
Oh, no, I got one. So, the last item
Yes.
of the 3 there, I don't think that's in the investment committee's purview.
Wait,
Oh, I'm sorry, you're on page 8.
On page 8, yes.
Okay, there we go.
All right.
Remove investment. Okay.
So around 8.
Yeah, page 8, the last item is having investment committee removed from responsible parties.
There's gonna be other places where we remove that.
I figured. Any other changes to page 8? No. All right. Historic and archaeological resources. Anything on page 9? And once, and twice. Moving on to page.
Actually, I'm gonna step back from that, and it may need to get looked at again. Darlene, I've kind of asked you this a couple of times, but I
Yeah.
really feel like we need to be honest about how the planning board is interacting about historical, and whether, you know, maybe talking afterwards if this is really,
Yeah, so
if this is accurate.
there's a list now, right? In the last historical section that came around, there was a list of different properties.
Right.
Which
Yeah.
is something that the planning board, I don't think has ever had as far as I've been on it. So having that and using that, I think would be great. I mean, I don't know as if we have any rules or anything like that in the ordinances about historic sites, so we'll have to.
And that's something that will be incorporated when we're making the ordinance,
Right.
actually.
Right, I guess that's what I'm asking. I just want to make sure
Right.
that this is reflecting what
Mhm.
is desirable, because it doesn't seem like it's happened up till now.
Putting it on.
Showing that there will be no impact on historic sites before issuance of any permits or
Yeah.
approvals.
I'm gonna put it right on the front cover, which means I have to do that.
I'd just like to point out that because there's discrepancies throughout for you to look at when you do it, that some of these are justified and some of these aren't. I don't care which one you use, just make sure that you're using the same thing all along. For instance, all of the ones in this population and housing are unjustified, whereas we get into this historical one, they're all justified.
Oh, yeah, no,
The columns.
Just
the columns,
make,
yeah, no.
just make sure. And I don't care which you choose.
Yeah, no, going through part 1 has been an odd one because the tables kept being misaligned, and so
Yeah.
then I had to rework some of them. Yeah, I have noticed that, and I am.
Okay, I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, no, I am gonna try and
I forgot
have.
what does justify mean again?
Justified,
I know that's a
these
term,
are
but-
justified margins on the
Oh,
web.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's
These are not,
Margins.
these are not
You have
justified.
Oh,
gaps,
yeah,
in-
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
there are
Right.
gaps once in a while.
they're gonna be justified throughout the whole thing.
And it's maybe small too, but I think if these were wider, these pages.
I was looking with a real justified.
Yeah, I know, I
I'm
knew.
sorry. This is the editor in me
It's be
speaking.
consistent, and I can explain a bit later, but,
Don't worry about it.
so, page 9, any other changes? Hearing none. Page 10,
I think in number 4, we could drop tennis courts.
remove just tennis courts, keep everything else.
Where's that?
Number 4,
Recreation, open space, number 4 under objectives/policies, tennis courts.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just tennis courts, everything else is staying?
Why not tennis courts?
Well, your open space for non-intensive outdoor activities would include tennis courts and
Pickleball is
baseball fields and all
not
kinds of
the big
stuff.
thing, we should
do,
have pickleball in.
oh, I just don't see the town putting up tennis courts, maintaining tennis courts.
Okay,
You know, we don't have a recreational department or anything else to take
all
care
right, okay.
Taking it out doesn't exclude them
of. No, it's just-
either,
No.
because you have open space for non-intensive outdoor activities, so.
Right.
So you can do that. courts removed.
If you put in pickleball courts, though, they don't need maintenance.
They don't?
No, all they need to do is be lined up.
You gotta shovel the snow.
What?
You gotta shovel the snow.
Well, it's true.
Right, and you have to have a net.
You gotta paint the lines.
Yeah, right.
No maintenance.
All right.
Anything else on 10? Once, twice. Oh,
Yeah, I do. Sorry, I think I saw this on 11, but now I'm seeing it here on 10 too. So under implementation, where it says ongoing, the first one, continue to provide support to regional facilities such as the Bath Y, the library. I guess, the town receives services from these facilities, so I'm kind of confused about the idea of supporting the facilities. I mean, they're also receiving services, so.
well, support's supposed to be meant like letters of support,
I mean, it's
or
participation.
if you have anything in the budget that goes to any of them, it would be that as well.
Which we do.
Which we have, like,
Yeah, I guess,
free library.
I know, I'm being a little bit
Yeah,
being picky about it, it's
Institute
support, but it's support, not like just donations, it's services are being rendered, so that's, I mean, at least I can say that for sure, for the library, becoming participating.
Well, that just shows we support those organizations, I know.
Right.
Just leave it, okay.
Or maybe just continue to cooperate with regional facilities for that, probably better.
Yeah, but it's more than cooperation
It
with
is,
the
yeah.
library. We pay $30,000 a year for our citizens to be able to have a library card at no charge.
And that's a great service.
Right, but it's not specific whether it's monetary support or anything like that, so I think support is a great general
It's a
word
general
to cover
term.
everything.
Yeah,
Just
keep it
leave it like
general.
that.
Yeah.
All right.
Because it's,
All right.
Agreed.
Anything else on page 10? Once, twice. Page 11.
I think in some of these, you have down the West Bath School Community Crew, which is good, but I kind of think the school board, the superintendent should be involved with those too, which they would be.
Should I have school community crew and school board, or just one?
Yes,
I think so.
they're separate.
West Bath School Board?
Was the board of directors is actually West Bath School
by
Board of
saying that, does
Directors.
that include the superintendent? With-
We could.
Or
do
is
some
West
contact.
Bath School inclusive of everyone in general?
West
Yes.
Bath School.
West
That
Bath,
might be the safest way to do it.
just West Bath
Since
School.
everybody-
Yeah.
And eliminate community group.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That sounds good.
through the whole
Through the
section,
entire section.
all the sections.
In the first section,
Get rid of investment committee?
yeah, but there should be something else that goes in there too, to develop a long-term town recreation open space plan. It's gonna take more than town meeting.
Yes.
Town Administrator.
Well, that's
Well,
the
the-
question too, because it's really the select board.
I was gonna say, if there's no definitive person, you kind of have to give it to the select board and they designate someone.
Yeah,
Or they create a committee.
so I wouldn't really
I
have
guess they
the
didn't want to
authority to
actually-
do that.
Actually create the committee with
Right.
Yeah,
selectmen. All right.
yeah.
All right,
Select board would go before town meeting,
doesn't really matter.
It, either one is fine, I'm just gonna put select board, the where investment committee was.
Also, section 4, I thought we decided to throw that one out.
Communicate with Bath Country Club, Bowdoin College and all that.
Yeah,
I remember,
Yeah, we've talked about
I
that.
think it was debated quite a bit, but I don't know if that was happening yet. I'll get rid of the
Use
rest.
of their facilities for what?
Just use it, but being eliminated is being eliminated.
so we're taking that whole one out.
Yep.
Yes.
Yay.
I got the thing down to 28 pages, I thought that would be good enough.
yeah,
You did well.
Do
no,
we,
no.
is there still a tax assessor's agent?
Yeah, communicate with local businesses and landowners about easements, tax incentives, and Maine's liability law. What would Who would be the new person for tax assessor?
The select board.
So that's instead of the
Yes.
Yeah.
tax assessors.
Okay, so we've now moved on to the contract, regional type one. Okay. Okay, and then there's page 12.
The same two recurring changes.
What did you say?
The same two changes
Tax
as
assessor is select board
in investment committee.
Oh,
is removed.
Well, wait, wouldn't?
wait,
Which one?
No,
Way
it would
down.
stay, wouldn't it?
on the fourth, one down?
Yeah, this is the bottom of page 12.
Hmm,
I don't think it stays.
the investment committee ought to stay in that one, I think.
Well, what about the top of
Yeah, what happened
page 12?
for tax assessor's agent?
That's select board.
That's like, okay, that's it.
Okay.
And town administrator, sorry, both?
I thought on the last one on page 12, I thought we deleted tax increment
Yeah.
financing.
We got rid of it in the economy section, but we didn't get rid of it here.
And we should.
Yeah.
And it's removed.
No tips.
No tips. Yeah, okay.
Can we go back up just where, under short term, the one, last section before economy?
Yep.
Select board and town administrator?
Yep.
Okay.
Any other changes for page 12? Hearing none.
I-
Oh,
How can, why would the public be able to be allowed to use my property? That's what that,
which item are we looking
the
at?
short term, provide educational materials regarding the benefits and protection for landowners, allowing for public recreation access to their properties.
So this is mostly talking about Maine's liability law on it, where you're not liable if someone's on your property. That's,
But I don't want them on my property.
then
know,
that's
they
what
don't-
trespassing
And
says.
you have to post
You
it.
have to post
Then I
it.
have to post it?
Yes.
But even if you don't post it and someone's on there, you're not liable if they trip and fall on it.
Okay, all right, I just didn't understand that, sorry.
That's okay.
It has now.
Under the
Well, you
economy,
know, sometimes the snowmobilers go through my backyard. It makes me really angry.
you're not liable if they hurt themselves.
Well, I hope they would. Then they'll never do it again.
Max, under the
Yes.
economy box,
Yes.
number 2,
Yes.
we probably wanna add, where it says commercial business zone, add the urban development park,
And the urban
development park zone.
park zone. Oh man, I've got my whole chart messed up now. Okay.
Sorry.
Happens.
I don't know what it means by small scale projects in the residential and rural residential zones.
Home occupations.
Right, you have home occupations and small scale projects.
That could be somebody who had a woodworking shop, you know, that built
That's a home
furniture.
occupation.
Well, like, there was this case I just dealt with very recently where someone has a home occupation, but they're no longer gonna be considered home occupation because you're gonna have 3 employees.
Mhm.
But it's still small, they're not changing their business plan, they're still a small little retail store, they just have 3 employees.
And they can't have it in a residential or rural residential area.
Well, no, I mean, I'm not talking about West Bath, I'm talking
Yeah.
about a different town, but
Mhm.
that's still the idea. Like, you'd kind of have to define small scale, but you don't, it's not a Walmart moving into the rural area, but
So
someone who
you're-
wants to be a retail store.
So you're proposing a retail store in a rural residential or residential zone, because that's against the ordinance now. And I don't remember if we talked about that.
No.
We can just shift it to home occupations only, if that'd be better, promote home occupations in the
That's
residential world.
Really the only thing that's allowed.
What do you mean by small scale project? I mean, what's an example?
Like,
I wasn't following it, obviously.
like, don't build a Walmart in the rural district, but if someone wants to just sell a birdhouse store, you know, someone makes their birdhouses and they just wanna sell it out of their house and
Or a
have,
garage or something.
yeah, and they have three people who work there, it's not a home occupation technically.
Plus the birds.
Plus the birds,
Right.
Okay.
but we can just remove small scale projects and just say promote home occupations in those districts.
All right.
Going all over the place, trying to think where we are. Are we still on
13.
13.
Okay.
Oh, number 2,
Yes.
no investment committee. This is page 13.
Yes, is this
Under the long term.
the participating regional economic?
Yeah.
The investment committee has a very simple focus.
Mm.
Yes.
Take money.
You've all told me that now.
All right.
Alright, moving on to the agriculture and forestry, page 14. Page 14.
The third down, I don't know what the budget committee's on that one, the Forest Service, or the Development Land Use Regulations. Maybe tax use tree.
Wait, what page are you on?
14.
Oh, wait, what happened to 13?
We're still on 13, David.
Are we-
No, we just said
So I think you
14.
went to.
No one said anything on 13.
Okay, I
You said
have one.
something.
Okay, we
Sorry.
got something for 13.
All right.
The, you have fire chief for the last one on 13, shouldn't that be code enforcement? It's talking about natural areas programming, Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife, and U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services. There are no impact on habitats of animals, birds, fish, plants. I realize that our fire chief is also our code enforcement officer, but I think
That's where
that used to be code enforcement.
it was that way because everyone was saying it's the fire chief / code enforcement officer.
So
Right, but if someday they are two people instead of one person,
Then it should be
then
the CEO. I
yeah, it should be
agree.
it should be the CEO, not the fire chief.
So I'm gonna make those changes for the next two.
I mean,
Oh, okay.
it may never change, but
But it should say CEO.
yeah, CEO. The maps, do you still have the maps, Dave?
They're upstairs.
Oh, they're upstairs, perfect. So we have maps.
This is a grammar thing, and maybe I shouldn't bring it up, but it strikes me that,
Which page?
I'm on 14,
Okay.
the first up at the top,
Mm-hmm.
where you're introducing the notion that there's this with habitat maps,
Mm-hmm.
beginning with habitat maps. It needs to be somehow highlighted that that's something, a title of something, not,
Right,
you're not just beginning with habitat maps. That's the title of those maps.
Designated
put
maps.
quotes on
Put
it.
it in quotes.
Yes, that's what I did.
And also
And
use the,
capitalized every word.
right, and use the beginning with habitat maps, it doesn't make sense. I don't understand what you're saying.
It's,
Identify and seek ways to preserve large woodland parcels using the maps from beginning with habitat. And the W, I don't believe is capitalized when they're referring to, it's just, I can leave it as, I can do a capitalized.
the maps is not capitalized, I think is what he's saying.
But I won't worry about the capitalization. But it's a thing. It's not,
Right,
now you begin this work by,
Yes.
Yeah,
Using the quote-unquote beginning with habitat maps, identify and seek ways to preserve da-da-da-da.
Okay.
very nice.
Okay. Anything else on page 14?
Just taking our budget committee on the third one.
Yep.
Third one. District staff.
Okay.
he's just trying to help you out, David. You don't have.
Tax, you've got a tax assessor agent there, and the
You wanted
second
to see
to last
David
one.
paying attention.
This stuff.
And he did for all of us, right?
And the select board's already there, so I guess we'll,
Yeah, you got it covered.
all right.
Where are we?
Bottom
We're
of
just
14.
finishing 14, tax assessors agents being removed. Anything else? 14. Once, twice. Moving on to 15.
On the, up in the green box, number 2, I've always heard it referred to as vernal pools, not ponds.
True,
Yeah, that's right.
yeah, good catch.
Okay.
That's the ecological terminology
Right, that's
that
correct.
describes.
Technically a puddle, but they call them pools.
Technically, it's what?
A puddle.
They are mostly puddles.
A pool is a large pool.
If the tree falls open, then there's that there, it's a nice pool.
All right. So that's the change. Anything else on 15? Once, twice.
Not 15 per se, but this whole section. And
The water resources section.
I can be convinced otherwise, but it struck me that the logical way to describe this would be ongoing things, then short-term things, then long-term things. And as we go
Yeah.
through page 16,
The order.
Okay.
17, we've got them all mixed up.
Yeah,
And I don't know if that makes sense, but it struck me that it was.
We discussed that earlier.
we did, we talked about that the
Change.
first thing should be the immediate, then there was short term, then there was, are
Long
you still
term,
using
long term.
immediate too?
Yeah, there's ongoing actions, immediate, short-term, and long-term.
Yeah, and we're gonna kind of rearrange all these sections in that order.
Yeah, and what did we decide on? Was it gonna be immediate first? Immediate,
Ongoing-
short,
ongoing-
long?
Ongoing should be first.
Ongoing,
That's
immediate, short,
active.
like
Okay.
it says on the
On the front.
first
Is it way to
page.
define? Yeah,
Yes.
the other order, yeah,
Okay.
on page 6.
So that carries all the way through the page 18 on this one.
Every section, basically.
Right.
So I have that noted and we can correct it for future ones. Correct that. So, where are we?
16.
16. The very top, you've got a lot of beginning with habitat stuff in there that needs quotes, maybe.
Same as the
In the
previous
first
page.
two.
So, I think that's another consistent one that I'm doing throughout, just beginning with habitat in quotes.
Mhm.
Okay.
It's actually, isn't it beginning with Habitat Apps program?
I don't know.
I
You
think
got
that's,
vernal, you got vernal ponds again on 17.
We're still on 16 though.
Oh, sorry.
And I believe it's just beginning with habitat. But I'll double check.
Okay.
the
Okay,
last time you had maps on that title,
yeah.
one or the other, consistency.
The bottom of 16 is tax assessor agent again.
It's just beginning with habitat.
So that's it.
Yeah, tax assessor agent, moving
I
that.
think that's all. it needs.
Don't think we need to make any replacements and select board is still there.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Anything else on? Which one was it? 16.
16.
All right, on to 17.
That top one, you got vernal ponds.
And tax
Change it to
assessors agent,
pools.
at the bottom of 16 got crossed off.
The,
What's your first off?
Tax assessors.
why, how did I miss
Where's
this
the little
one?
pools? I don't see it.
Which one?
On
Top one.
17.
That the planning board is supposed to identify and map areas at risk from water pollution?
Thank you.
This is something that's just, this is something that's been in the comp plans since the last version.
Right, but doesn't the state have mapped, doesn't the state have a map of that?
They do.
I'm not sure how the planning board's gonna go and map them out.
This is if the planning board wants to identify any additional places that are at risk.
Maybe you should add that in there.
Right, at risk in addition to state map, maybe, or something.
What the state has already named.
Because someone's gonna ask us to do that in the short term. and then we'll say,
Identify
I don't know
and
how
map-
I'm supposed to map out.
Additional,
Yeah, additional areas at risk.
not identified by the state of Maine or whatever.
Right,
Or I'll just add a thing at the very bottom, like a new sentence with it. These are areas not already
Not previously.
yeah. These would be areas,
I lost one
yeah, I'm sorry, that's a big change, I didn't see this before, I guess.
these would be areas not identified by the state.
there. Can you repeat what you're just changing?
So,
He's adding a sentence, right?
yeah, at the very end, these, well, vernal pools first of all.
It's
The same one?
This
Okay.
section.
Yeah, it's a new sentence, at the end of it saying these would be areas not identified by the state. Or we can just get rid of the row, this is gonna get too confusing at this point. It's not a required item.
It's mentioned other places, right?
In the section, it's, in the section it does talk about all the, beginning with habitat maps that you
Yeah.
can get and everything. Any other change to page 17?
That second one, I understand what you're doing, but I don't know that that would go through town meeting, would it?
Because it's gonna be a land use ordinance amendment, so it has to be approved by the town.
Okay.
Yeah, ultimately it's gotta go through.
That's good.
The last one on 17, I don't believe we have an urban impaired stream watershed anywhere in town.
Well, what happens?
You got the thing.
It says we're applicable.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, it's gonna
It's
start,
the-
never mind.
It's got an
Never mind.
asterisk, so-
Sorry,
Yeah, so if it ever shows up.
we're applicable, got it.
We got to cut.
Sorry,
Yeah.
disregard.
Alright, so that was 17. On to 18. Page 18. Going once. Going twice. Hearing none. We're on to page 19. I believe this is the start of marine resources.
Number 2, the second line, I think you need to specify that it's the State Department of Marine Resources. At the end of that sentence on number 2.
By the,
Maine
Maine Department,
Yeah,
Yeah, or the Maine.
yeah.
by the Maine Department of Marine Resources.
Yes. And when I read that, I said, we don't have, town doesn't have a Department of Marine Resources.
Do you want me to do the
It's in-
same thing for number 4 as well?
Yeah, it's in line 4
Yeah.
also.
Yes.
Yes.
It should be, I mean, all the harbor masters should have done the shellfish committee.
Yeah, because it's now a regional position, right?
No, the warden is a regional,
Oh,
but then there's a shellfish committee in town. What's the actual term of that committee, Christine, you know?
Marine Resources
Marine Resource Committee.
Committee.
so I'm removing harbor master?
No, I think adding
Adding
Marine Resource Committee.
marine resources.
And
It's a
on,
committee or board?
on 4,
Committee.
where it talks about the fishing industry, is fishing strong enough to look at all of the marine things that are there?
Shell fishing and
Does
fish
that
fishing
include,
and lobster fishing.
does that include all of those?
I think it does.
Okay, I don't know, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it goes on to talk about traditional marine uses.
Any other changes?
So where we at, this was under the ongoing, is that where harbor mastery?
Uh,
Is that where you added?
Yes.
yeah,
Under
under harbor,
Resources Committee.
Okay, thank you.
so moving on to page 19. Any changes to page 20? Going once? Going, I heard that, Paul.
No, nothing.
Alright. Going once?
I was breathing.
I can never tell anymore. Alright,
Does I have a
I'm just
question?
gonna,
okay.
Go ahead.
just generic, because of the issue of the Marine Resources Committee, do they need to be considered for any other items on page 20?
I don't think so.
Alright,
The second one from the bottom.
Yep.
Create a natural environment which encourages the establishment of new marine operations. How is the planning board supposed to create a natural environment to encourage that?
I think that's,
usually it's creating a new shoreland zone, but, I thought that's what your planning board always does. I thought you create all these natural environments. I thought you purify the water and everything. You don't?
no.
Well,
Remove?
I'm not saying that this shouldn't be here, just, I don't know what I'm supposed to do now. It's not
I
clear.
think we,
The direction is not clear.
I think I'd remove it.
Yeah. I think it was supposed to just be another shoreland zone district, but I think it's just, it is worded so vaguely that I.
It's
What are we removing, the whole thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Removing the whole line, because who would be required,
Who would develop it?
who would develop natural
Yeah,
area?
and you look at the first three, and they're all talking about shoreland protection and municipal-wide water use, and I
Working
think it's
with
covered.
mayors.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, sorry, again, I didn't notice that before.
Any other change?
Besides, only nature can create a natural environment.
I mean,
We can try.
yeah, we're bringing some trees and stuff.
True.
So, page 21? Or-
I-
Yeah, tax assessment.
Yeah, remove tax assessment.
I kind of think it should be removed on the third one down, the last, in public parks.
Just period at ways.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have a conservation commission?
That's the next question.
Yeah.
Are we supposed to have a conservation commission?
You don't have to have a conservation.
So
So,
that
Select board?
reverts to the select board.
All right. Anything else on 21? Hearing none on page 21, we move on to page 22, public facilities and services.
The budget committee doesn't want me responsible for reviewing the compost.
You're killing me here.
As a just real, we don't want that job.
And leave it to the select board.
Exactly.
Didn't that actually come up with this recycling committee?
Yeah,
Well. Is it still a recycling committee?
Yeah. Is,
There probably won't be after they
That's-
have a new contract.
That's what I mean.
Oh, there we go. Anything else on page 22? Is it 22?
22.
Yeah.
So we're on 23?
Unless,
22.
22, unless I'm hearing anything.
The last section, are we gonna let the sheriff's department sort of hang out there, being responsible for that all by themselves?
Consider methods of monitoring the improper disposal of waste.
Would the
We have
CEO,
no
yeah,
one else
there's
enforce
no one
it.
else to,
no,
who else
would
would
the
be in?
CEO be on there too?
He can't,
So I guess the thing is, if,
enforcement probably not. As far as giving somebody a ticket.
Consider methods.
Maybe maybe select board just because it says consider.
Yeah.
Yeah, good idea.
You're right, though, that shouldn't be just one.
There's a lot of deputies.
They can post one out there.
Trash is pretty inanimate, I'm not sure that that would make it to the top of the list every day.
Any other changes to page 22? Once, twice, page 23.
Investment committee comes off the last two.
Okay.
And the budget committee on the first one.
Off?
Really?
Yeah, if somebody comes to us with a project, sure, but I don't think we will identify,
You're not pursuing it.
no,
No.
we're on the other end of it.
Right.
Once somebody comes up with the idea, they figure out how they're gonna pay for it. Right. If it's approved
Move it.
budget.
Any other changes for page 23?
Is backwater district after one,
I'm sorry?
so the next to the last one about identify and protect suitable sources for public water supply expansions. I mean, I know it's backwater district, but should that be standalone as well since we're West Bath?
So that is select board there too,
I'm
just to have a.
just-
Select board,
some
yeah.
I just
authority.
feel like it is kind of weird to have it be.
It's a
totally-
state item, so. Yeah, like some-
Select board.
Yeah,
Select board's gonna be busy.
Yeah.
in theory.
They can delegate.
Any other changes to page 23? Hearing none. Page 24. I know we're gonna get rid of community crew. Just leave it at
The school.
WB school.
Yep.
I'm not gonna say elementary school, so I don't get killed. Any other changes for page 24?
Actually, is there adult education?
I,
That just caught my eye. Continue to provide, in the green box, continue to provide educational needs for the children and adults of West Bath.
Through RSU one.
They talked about having some stuff at the school.
And you can do it through RSU one as well.
And there's still the Mary Manning education.
Yeah.
thing.
That's all considered, okay.
in this long term, the bottom one on page 24, shouldn't the community crew be part of that?
Well, if you see the West Bath School, it's going to encompass all of them, I think. The principal, superintendent, board, community crew. I look as all be involved with that,
Okay.
the whole school.
When you say when we list West Bath School, they bring community crew along with them if it's
If it's-
appropriate.
Yeah, that's what I would think. That's what I'm thinking anyhow.
Maybe just for that implementation action, just maybe remove officials, just say collaborate with West Bath School to transform existing.
Yeah.
That might help clear it up.
I would put, yeah, and take out officials.
Take out the officials. Something that hopefully doesn't get taken out of context from that video.
There you go.
You've got a new name now.
There. Any other changes to 4? Hearing none, we're on to 25, the transportation section. Page 25. Going twice.
Oh, that's state mandated, isn't it? Never mind.
Are you looking at, well, yeah, I think everything under transportation is mandated.
Transportation Policy Act.
Yep.
All that good stuff.
Yep. It's all fun, isn't it?
Mhm.
Any Any changes for 25? We then go on to fiscal capacity, page 26. I know it's a long list for this one.
There again, there's a few of them, on 26, the same way with the budget committee, if they come to us, they look at it, but we aren't gonna go out looking,
I'm removing investment committee and budget committee, aren't I?
Yes.
Isn't town administrator, it talks about explore available grants?
but she or he would not do that about the select board saying, do this.
Okay.
To work with the bank and plan for financial areas and capital.
On the green box on 26, number 3, I don't understand what staying with LD1 spending limitations. LD1 doesn't mean anything to the casual reader. What, can you spell that out as to what it?
Do you want me to have the
The
state
statute.
law specifically, the title? Okay.
Yes.
State statute.
I think you're within LD1 spending limits.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm a brand new resident in West Bath, I don't have a clue what LD1 means.
Since there are lots of dollars, lots of dollars.
Okay.
The act to save lots of dollars. All right, so I'll include the statute name for that. And it's gonna be within LD1. Any other changes to page 27? Hearing none.
Wait, 26?
Or sorry, I'm sorry, 26. We've been doing so many changes that my pages have changed numbers.
Oh, yeah.
Now on to 27.
In the green box, again, business and commercial zone, should you add UDP in there?
And urban development.
Park zone, same with like number 2.
Okay. So those two changes for land use plans under page 27. Any other changes? Hearing none. Page 27, is there any other changes?
Can you just explain number 3? Minimize ingress from the egress to public roads for development.
I think that's supposed to just be egress. That's supposed to, that's saying, trying to minimize the number of curb cuts pretty much.
Too many driveways.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, so why does it say ingress from egress?
Yeah, it's just kind of confusing to me, the wording.
So what are we crossing out?
So I think it's curb cuts is what you really want.
Yeah, just how about minimize the number of curb cuts to public roads?
Which number is this?
Number
Number 3.
3.
Thank you.
You don't have a curve, what is it?
What?
It's,
We got a lot of roads with no curves that you're trying to minimize.
A little bit of access on or off.
it's so long ago, people have these wide open, like 80-foot or 150-foot wide, just openings,
Right.
paved, whatever, and so the state wants you to have a grassed thing in between, so you have an in and you have an out, you don't have a free-for-all for 150 feet, so that's really what this is saying.
Okay.
Minimize length of ingress,
Minimize the length.
length of ingress and egress
From, or to and
to
from.
public roads, probably, would work.
Minimize the length of ingress from the egress.
Minimize the length of
Yeah, minimize the length of.
ingress
And egress.
and egress.
Alright.
So, yeah, you go in and out of the flea market, and it's like 5 cars going in different places, and 5 cars going out in different places, there's no in, there's no out, so that's really what
Okay.
that is.
Any other changes for page 27? Hearing none. Page 28.
Same here with the budget committee.
I think on 28, you ought to include the investment committee.
In the capital investment plan,
Yeah.
Yeah,
so take out budget, include investment committee.
You agree, Paul? Yeah.
I still think I think the budget committee should be in there too.
I think so.
Select board doesn't get it. Any other changes for page 28? Oh, I see a little thing that I have to delete.
Tax assessor.
Yep.
I'm wondering, would the planning board actually meet with neighboring communities to coordinate land use designations and regulatory and non-regulatory strategies?
You just need another, like, town administrator on there as well.
So that'd be-
Alongside the planning board.
It'd be the select board.
Would it be the select board, or,
Yeah, because I don't believe that we're allowed to just
no?
go do that.
But if you put select board there, then that puts you in the advisory capacity.
Okay. And I see a backslash that I have to remove. Any other changes to page 28?
Did you take the budget committee out of number 3?
The provide the CEO with tools and all that?
Yes.
That's,
All 3 places I was just referring to, the
yeah.
budget committee would be removed.
Okay.
Direct 70%,
I don't
investments.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
gonna start.
Wow.
Is that a planning board also, or is that a?
No, that would be more select board, because that's where it's.
Okay.
But do you,
What's
I know,
future-
I know.
future,
a minimum of 75%
So they're
of
saying if
new
they,
capital,
if we
new
build a
municipal
new-
growth.
yes, if we build a new fire station or a
New
new
town
town hall, it
garage.
has to go.
Municipal growth.
Yeah,
Right.
it has to go.
So, new sidewalks, you're gonna have it in the growth area.
No, not in West Bath.
I'm giving these examples.
Right.
All right.
Alright,
Okay.
so that's it,
That was
part
it.
1. So I'll make those changes. Alright. So then, we'll go through it. Hopefully it'll be quick, going section by section.
A lot of this is just information the state has given you or someone else.
Yeah, section 1 is just the data that the state gave me, or the census data that's gave me. And I included the margins of error just because American Community Surveys are always estimates, and so they're never guaranteed.
That margin there just confuses me.
It's like huge statistically.
Oh, I know.
Margin of
There's a
error.
lot of free areas there.
I know.
Right.
you know, when you're, the smaller, like, when you look at a population, doesn't matter what population it is.
Yeah.
When units are small, under 25 people, it becomes really difficult to project what they are gonna do. And, you know, we're a very small community and we don't have large cells based in the community. Statistically, it's almost impossible to project some of those things.
So with this margin of error, the reason I had it is because there was confusion about why all these items didn't add up to
Right.
the population number, so I can get rid of the margin of error, and then I can have a little blurb that says, keep in mind, these are estimates, and they're not going to add up to the population numbers, or,
I like that.
That's
Yes,
better.
that's much better.
Let's go with that.
alright, so I'll have that in the background, that any source that's the American Community Survey, our own estimates.
But you've got estimates up here already,
I'll just spell it out a little better.
right?
Right.
You could say something like these numbers are meant to be accurate.
You could say these numbers aren't useful.
I'm gonna miss you guys.
Moving right along. Next page.
Alright.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so that, oh, and very quickly, just because this is a formatting thing, do people, is this fine how I have it numbered where it's gonna be 1-1 for population and 2-1 for the other ones, just to show
Oh.
it's section, this
Yeah.
one, and its own page?
Mm-hmm.
Then you get to see how many pages each section is for your next comp plan.
We like that.
Alright. Well, with that note, page 1-2 for population.
Karen, this is all numbers you found, it's from the state or whoever.
In the bottom, under analysis there, I suggest you take out the rate up, just say, the West Bath population is projected to slightly increase.
I had that changed.
And then down on the bottom, the last two lines, the end of the first of those lines, say, since the projected population change is projected to be in single-digit changes.
Okay.
I got up at the top, and I know you've got, this is the categories the state
Right.
specifies probably. But I'll bet if you went to talk to our principal / superintendent, Emily,
Oh, is this about the enrollment numbers for education?
yes,
We're waiting for those numbers to be updated.
but I want it to be not grades 1 through 4, but 1 through 5, because that's what our elementary school is.
Okay. And then
Right.
6 through 8 and 9 through 12.
That's good.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good.
And I think Emily could get you those numbers, because she has to,
It's just the one school.
she's got to deal with all the tuition students, the middle
Yeah,
school and high school,
that's
as well as,
It's a great catch.
Okay.
that's just more meaningful to our town.
All right,
So I'll go just putting in those numbers, but I made that correction. Anything else on 1-2?
I just can't get my head around vacant houses,
Yeah, I don't believe it.
236. Seasonal is 159. Can't we have seasonal houses and vacant houses as two separate things? Because vacant, including seasonal, does not,
But it'd probably be better to, yep. I was gonna say get rid of it, just because we have the housing section as its own thing. But you wanna just have seasonal separate from vacant?
yes.
Yes.
Seasonal.
So there is no seasonal in here, right?
This one doesn't have this.
Yes, somewhere in the
Well,
table,
In the next page, in the discussion, it talks about seasonal,
right,
207, top of the next page.
Yeah, so maybe list them.
207 and vacant's 29.
that needs to be two separate categories in my book.
Okay.
So you're gonna add in seasonal into that?
Seasonal housing
we're
units,
gonna get two
207.
sections.
Well,
In vacant, it includes like 207 or,
Right, so
Right,
break
this
that
is-
out.
Yeah.
the state merges the two together, so there's gonna be seasonal housing units, and that's 207, and then vacant housing units will still remain, and that's 29.
Okay,
that's a lot more informative than
Okay.
what's here.
Yeah.
Any others for 1-2? Moving on to 1-3. Should I still have the asterisks in the inventory sections as well?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
think so.
Okay.
the second paragraph, next to last sentence, like how
That's like.
the city of Bath,
Which one again?
the second paragraph,
West Bath.
Like how, okay,
Community
does not
requires
contain
like that.
like how,
Like city of Bath has Bath Manor, yeah, or getting rid of how.
and how.
Yeah, that's what I said, just that. No, it's not contain major employer, like the city of Bath.
Mhm.
Okay.
I think
Well,
two
no.
sentences.
I would say like the city of Bath, which
So
has,
You need to restructure that.
yeah.
West
it's-
Bath
it's
does not contain a major employer,
Period.
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 The city of Bath has,
I could probably just get rid of the rest of that if you want. I think the only reason I had to make that clarity was because someone said, oh, well, isn't the one just down the road a major employer when they have 5 employees?
Let's get rid of that sentence, the end of that sentence.
So I'll just say, West Bath does not contain a major employer, period.
Yeah, let's do that way.
Okay. Any other changes for 1-3? Okay.
in the third paragraph, line number 1, 2, 3, 4. That sentence that starts on line 3, West Bath currently has an elementary school within the area for students learning up to grade 5.
Through grade 5.
Correct. Through grade 5. And can utilize the public regional school system for students entering middle and high school.
Right.
And
They are not part, we are not part of. We can utilize because we have a contract to provide tuition to RSU 1. But then you get into the limited school choice is in the middle of all that, so.
And can utilize the public regional school system for students. Okay. And I do see that the analysis section was not justified for its paragraph thing, but I've caught that and I formatted it that way. Any other changes for 1 and 3?
You know, it's anecdotal information, but we've had 3 new families move into my neighborhood there, and all 3 of them are bringing children in, which is kind of unusual because we don't have many children in the neighborhood, and suddenly there's a whole bunch.
Now you do.
Yeah. Spiking up the population.
Okay, I've got another problem.
Yes.
Paragraph 1, 2, 3,
1, 2,
4.
4.
Third line,
Third line.
that there's more than 1 in 5 homes that are vacant in the community.
Just, yeah, I know, because the seasonal thing made it all.
So you gotta correct that for only the true vacant ones. It's not 1 in 5. Seasonal is,
Just drop out that section of the sentence.
Yeah, do you want me to
Just-
just get rid of that last half of the sentence?
Yeah.
okay.
Solves that.
Estimates show that there are fewer new homes being built that can contribute to the total number of available units, period, and then moving on.
And then the last sentence, it says the vacancy rates and increase in housing demand concerning. We don't have big vacancy rates.
So just the increase in housing demand?
Right, because the vacancy rate isn't really a concern.
Well, no, not that we've gotten rid of the seasonal houses.
Not,
So tell the state of name we solved that problem
Congrats, everyone, we solved the housing crisis.
in West Bath.
All right. Any other changes for 1-3? Hearing none, on to 1-4, which just shows the changes in population in the state, county, and labor market areas.
Is there any way to get table 1, 1 onto the same page with table 1, 2, 1, 3?
It's not gonna fit.
Okay,
I tried.
all right.
All right?
I like the tables 1, 2, and then 3.
I do too.
All right.
How the hell did Hartwell have such a huge leap in,
Population?
no, in median income?
Oh.
Wow. I
People
was
retired there.
astounded at that.
New Yorkers moved into town and still work in New York,
Yeah, pretty
in their
much.
houses.
Okay,
Expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened.
okay.
All right,
All right, so
That's my guess.
page 1, or section 1's done, moving on to section 2, housing.
Well, right in the first paragraph, second line, vacant units include 155 units
Yeah. Got my hands get rid of that housing stock item.
that are only occupied on a seasonal basis.
Yeah, 207 units.
The numbers don't add up, and why are we even writing that sentence when we're gonna separate them in the tables? Vacants will be vacant when you've separated them in tables.
Yeah, they need to be parallel.
I mean, in terms,
just to try to clarify
right,
the two,
Yeah, seasonal versus vacant.
I think, well, I think with the confusion over all the numbers, we could probably get rid of the first part of that paragraph and just start with seasonal homes appear to have been, not have been converted to year-round homes, and that's just now at the bottom of this second paragraph.
Get rid of all of this top stuff.
Right, to minimize the confusion, because we have the numbers broken down throughout the rest of it anyways.
yeah, let's go that way.
What are you deleting?
How
So-
much is gonna come out?
All the top down to
Right, up to
seasonal.
Yeah, first paragraph, up to seasonal houses
All
will
of
be
this
removed.
from there on up to here is
So it's just
deleted.
gonna start
And then,
in 2010?
These two, all of those.
Yeah.
and then that seasonal houses sentence paragraph would be moved after, or it would merge with the second paragraph.
It's not after seasonal housing.
Not to have, okay.
So what's the first sentence gonna be in the intro, in that background paragraph? Where does it start?
The back,
Seasonal
Seasonal
housing.
houses?
Yeah,
Everything before that gets deleted.
well, and then it's all gonna swap. So 10-year period shows that West Bath, that's now gonna be the start. That's gonna be right after background. And then the seasonal houses will be after this second paragraph's finish.
Okay,
It's just a quick little switch.
okay,
So it's gonna start with the 10-year period?
yeah.
Okay.
Where-
Oh, that's gonna be.
in the second
This is
paragraph,
gonna be-
Yep.
you're not following something that you said. Okay, on 1.2,
Yep.
you say that there's a slight decrease, and here you're talking about an increase.
In housing stock.
If the estimated trend in housing and population continues. Here you're saying it's gonna decline.
Yes, on West Bath 2, the West Bath population is
Get me a
projected.
glass of water, please. It's right there. I'm sorry. On 1.2, you say it's gonna decline, and here you say it's gonna increase.
In 1-2, it says West Bath's population is projected to decrease. And then on housing, 10-year projection says housing stock by 10.1. Yeah, the estimated trend in housing. Yeah, I can remove the population item. That would help clear
Right,
up.
but
because-
down in the next part, you're talking about, to accommodate the increase in population and demographics noted in the population section of the comprehensive plan. Those two don't agree with each other.
So in population section, I can change it to population projected to slightly increase, but with a margin of error. I remember when we had these discussions on, it's a slight change. I even said just a slight change, and
Yeah,
that
but
apparently
no,
was not much. So I'll change the population one, because that seems to be the.
On 1.2, you say a slight decrease.
Yes,
So you can't say a decrease here
so
and
I will
an
change that
increase
to
here.
increase then. I could even just say change at this point, because it's just change.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, change works.
Okay. So now on to housing again. Anything else on page 2-1? Hearing none. Page 2-2. Going once, going twice. Page 2-3. Page 2-3, going once, okay. All right, page 2-4. This was one where, from the notes I had, people wanted to reduce it to keep it on one page and only focus on just the state of Maine, Saginaw County, and West Bath.
All right.
Right, instead of all the other counties.
Okay.
I like the green and the red plus and minus. Is this book gonna be printed in color?
At least those pages can, yeah. Well, yeah, I assume the comprehensive plan is gonna be printed in color. Well, you'll have a PDF.
Right, so if this is gonna be printed in color, like you have a bunch of pluses and minuses all over the place that are black and white. So should they all be in green and red?
Wait, which section do you want to have?
So table 2-5,
Right.
the plus is in green, the negatives are in red.
Oh,
So
you're-
like
you
on
want that to
table
be all-
2-2, you've got pluses and minuses that are all in black. I'm just wondering
Do,
if it's, anyone cares if we use
Well-
color across the board, or, I guess the question was, is this being printed in color?
I think,
This is like a change in an index.
Mm-hmm.
The other one is absolute numbers. So, I don't know, this makes more sense to me. To have the piece in color, but not
But
the
not
other
the absolute.
necessarily.
Okay.
any other changes to 2-4? And then I just blew up the affordability index, put it underneath the tables, just to try and clear that up for people.
Yeah. That's good.
No other changes for 2-4. Page 2-5.
I'd like to raise a question. Why do we have that whole section on the Bath Housing Authority? Bath Housing Development Corporation.
Because they're in the region. They are a regional resource that can be used for trying to address housing in the area, if you want to try and pursue that.
Even though it's called Bath Housing Authority.
yeah, it's still available.
Interesting.
I feel it's come up a few times every time we
Yeah.
get into the
Yeah.
housing section.
It's been mentioned before.
Yeah.
So that's, okay.
Should you
The state.
explain that a little bit then?
That they're a regional resource?
Yes. Because people won't understand why, all of a sudden Bath.
You could say in the greater Bath region, which includes West Bath.
Oh, the last sentence of that paragraph, or the last part of that sentence, Bath Housing Authority, what are the resources to blah, blah, blah. That says more or less what's there, right?
Right, and the first sentence, and currently manages over 175 apartments in the greater Bath region. I could put in parentheses, including West Bath, but I think one of the reasons we didn't want to specify any apartments is because then we're pointing them out in West Bath.
Right. I think the last sentence of that, part of that sentence covers it, the bottom of the paragraph.
Could we go back to 2.4, it's just a blank, grammar or whatever.
Right.
The first sentence of the paragraph at the end of the page. The increased value of the housing significantly outpaced the increase in wages and income necessary to live in a home in West Bath. In the past decade, there are numerous factors that could be associated for this dilemma. Are you trying to say that could be associated with this dilemma? Is that all that is?
Yeah.
With this dilemma.
That's a dilemma in itself.
Yeah.
All right. Any other? Oh, yep.
On 2.5, in the analysis issue, after 65, this third line down, after resident 65 or older, take of age out. And then the second line, actually the third line, from the bottom of there, take that comma out, that period out before and.
Okay.
And then in the bottom paragraph, you say, is lacking adequate kitchen facilities or no plumbing facilities. Take out the kitchen, or not the kitchen, keep the kitchen in, take out facilities, and take out the no. So it reads kitchen or plumbing facilities.
Okay. All right. Any other changes to page 2-5, the housing section in depth? Hearing none. Go on to section 3, the history section.
Okay, I have a question.
Oh, right out the gate.
This is an overall question.
Yep.
So, the Historical Society did this, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been sort of a group
Are
effort,
you happy with it?
not completely.
Oh. I'm sorry to hear you say that. 'cause
You were gonna
that's-
say skip it.
Yeah, exactly right.
Oh, you can skip it. No, I don't think it needs, it's not ready for discussion here. There's some things that I'm still concerned about.
All right, so
On the trends.
we
so,
could leave this the way it is for the moment.
Yeah.
It's probably
It's
pretty
cleaned up.
darn good just as it is.
Yeah.
It looked it.
I read it. I didn't.
So you're concerned about some of the trends
Yeah.
on
Or I guess-
3.5?
Yeah, I think it's just making sure that it's accurate.
Okay.
Can
So-
you check those out and we can talk about them
Yep.
next Monday?
All right.
So we'll move on.
I think the references to the MHPC and I think just making sure that things are, it's essentially that's correct.
Okay. So I guess we'll move on to section 4 then.
Suits me. The fourth paragraph on that 4.1, clearance just has a bad, change to shellfish harvesters or something.
So, yeah, has been, so just change it from clammers to shellfish.
Harvesters, whatever.
Yeah.
Shellfish harvesting. Recreational shellfish harvesting, boaters and walkers, okay. Phone keeps dinging. I got rid of the parking column for the
Right.
various ramps. And just left the note that only one of them as on-street, only on-street parking.
Is the acreage even useful?
I think it shows why there's not much there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then someone's gonna say, oh, well, why can't we get off-street parking there? And then you're gonna see 9/10 of an acre.
1.2.
900.
900.
900ths.
That's such a small place and it's, I wouldn't want to put my boat in there.
I'm still fixing my
Scary.
daylights, what can I say? All right.
No, that's fine.
And then 4-2,
Same thing in the analysis, plans, shelter services.
get rid of
Where's
that.
that?
First sentence of analysis and issues,
Right, I see.
shellfish. Access stroke for walkers, shellfish harvesters, and boaters. And then should I still have West Bath Community Crew in here, or should I change that to West Bath School, or? This is under analysis and issues, 1, 2, 3, 5 sentences from the bottom.
Well, you said it up above it, right? The sentence before that.
This method includes cooperating with the West Bath Community Crew, aka the parent-teacher organization.
No, would you say
I
the
just-
town has outlined the possibility of further developments in the area around West Bath School? I guess in this case, changed to the West Bath School. It encompass everybody there. They'd all be involved in it.
I figure if we're getting rid of community crew in the
Yeah.
implementation, you might as well have it here.
Yeah.
You can have it here or not?
Let's make it the West Bath School again.
Okay.
Just because community crew is not referenced any in the implementation items. Any other, I guess any other changes for the recreation section in general, since it's only 2 pages? Arguably 1.5.
Are we, is anything gonna happen with the new bike track? Does that go through us?
That's under the transportation.
That's,
Right,
Well,
eventually,
it's still recreation.
it might be, but who knows? It's
maybe.
And
dollar and cents move too.
Okay.
yeah, and I made sure to include a quick little tidbit on that at the bottom of the analysis and issues. The town can also explore regional collaborations with nonprofits, such as the bikeway extension outlined under the transportation section. And then we're just going to talk about it when we get to that.
There's another language thing on the last paragraph under, and it's right in the middle. Unless the town of West Bath purchases
Or received it.
or receives with an S, a donation of a large piece of land, comma, it doesn't make sense, that Hamilton Audubon Sanctuary is a vital parcel, I don't know, it just doesn't flow.
Yeah, that checklist item is just saying, that checklist item is supposed to just say what is some open space areas that are in town, and this is just saying Audubon Society has it.
Right, I think what she's saying is there's too many comments.
It doesn't make, I mean, the
Yeah, I
sentence
know.
just doesn't make sense, I mean, it just needs to be reworded. That's-
I would take, ooh, sorry, I would take all the comments out.
Maybe we could. Maybe just have a sentence read, the Hamilton Audubon Society is a vital parcel to preserve open space for the public, since the town of West Bath does not have one.
You know,
No.
that's it, they do have that one.
Well, no, the town, like, publicly owned. Or just leave it, the Hamilton Audubon Society.
Is the only
Yeah.
vital part, I mean,
Is a vital parcel, that's it.
Alright,
All right.
the vital. Okay. Any other changes for recreation? Okay. Starting improvement. Now
You know, one little thing on the third paragraph down, in the fourth sentence, the site is under private ownership. I think you should say like, the site is now under private ownership. And it clarifies it's not town,
Okay,
which it was for many years, that is town property.
okay, site is now under private ownership. And,
I think too, it's good to put in here that the Wing Farm is not all of that commercial industrial area. Maybe it doesn't matter in this. It's an industrial zone area that is on the border. The site is on,
Could say which is a part of the industrial
Yeah,
zone
it's a-
area.
right, it's